He was a crack addict, a crack daddy, and a crackhead.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got my ass full of bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to decide to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. I'm so cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. I just can't understand it. So could define by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. I don't wanna hear it. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guy's finish. Mr. Whitebeard, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She lives in a pool, letting you cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like castrated. Yeah. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bo's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The polygenetic. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. Don't let the fucking pill quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guy's finished first.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Echoplex Media is listener-supported content, viewer-supported content. You can go to eplex.store or patreon.com/Echoplex. Sign up for the $5 a month or higher level, and you get the entire show, including red light, audio and video sent to your inbox the day after the show. That's a day before the podcast comes out. So welcome podcast listeners, welcome live listeners, live viewers. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr, and as always, this is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. your local police. Cause they don't do nothing wrong like your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the village judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. Cause they don't do nothing wrong, don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job, don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops.
All right, everybody, we've got a pretty long docket tonight. Thanks, everybody who helped out in the Discord putting this docket together this week. Our first clip is the former President Donald Trump, current Republican nominee Donald Trump, going to just tell us all about tariffs, I guess.
Please. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Taylor Poplar from Spectrum News. I've spoken with some economists about your proposal for tariffs, and they say they don't see how it will not make items cost more in the United States.
They'll approve it. They'll approve. And number one, I don't need them. I don't need Congress, but they'll approve it. I'll have the right to impose them myself if they don't. I'd rather get their support. The ones that understand business all support it. I think David would be a very big supporter of the tariffs because you understand what's happening, right? David's a great business person, led a great company. No, the ones that understand business, they understand. You know,
he's like really sweaty, but it could just be like hot wherever he is. That's not really that important. But he's like, oh, I don't need Congress to do it, and this and that. But the question was like, I've talked to economists, and they are all saying that they don't see how imposing tariffs on goods wouldn't raise prices, because we all know that like when a tariff happens, it's not like anybody in the fucking supply chain is just like, oh, I'll eat that cost. No, they pass it on to you and me. That's how that works. Why wouldn't they? That's what I'd do. Anyway, here's the former guy talking about what action he would take to make sure jobs stay in the United States.
What actions will you take to ensure that our jobs stay in America so we can continue to build the best cars in the world here in Michigan?
so pretty much as we've been saying. And what I want to do is I want to be able to look, your business, years ago in this area, I was honored as the Man of the Year. It was maybe 20 years ago. Oh, and the fake news heard about it. They said, it never happened, it never happened. And I didn't know who it was. It was a group that honored me as Man of the Year. The fakers back there, see the fake news? But they said, oh, and they looked, and it, you know, they said it never happened, but I said, I swear to you, it happened. It did happen. I was Man of the Year. And I came and I made a speech and I said, why do you allow them to take your car business away? Why do you allow it to happen? They're taking your business away. And I didn't know too much about it. All I know is they were taking your car industry away from you. They said it never happened. And lo and behold, Somebody said, I remember the event, and then we found out and we had everything. We got the awards, we had everything. It did happen, but I gave a speech which at the time was pretty controversial.
Oh, man. So apparently he was man of the year. I mean, he probably claimed that he was Times man of the year, which he never was. But if some like random group somewhere like declared someone to be man of the year, sure. Wait, what the? Oh, here we go. So here's another one. So did you know that we should actually be monitoring nuclear warming? like what the fuck, dude?
You notice that they don't ever mention anything about environment anymore? What happened to the environment? They don't mention it. They don't mention that the ocean's going to rise 1/4 of an inch over the next 500 years. They don't mention it anymore. It's incredible. I will say this, though. What they should start mentioning is nuclear warming, because we're in grave danger. The world is in grave danger, and you better get smart people. You know, during my term, I never mentioned the word nuclear. But that's the warming that you're going to have to be very careful with. And we're very close to World War III, whether it's the Middle East or that. October 7th would have never happened. Iran had no money. I guess that's probably why you hear the stories about Iran. Only a consequential president would have this happen. Only a consequential president. But Iran would have made a deal with us. It would have been a great deal for them. The only thing is they cannot have nuclear weapons. And we would have had it because Iran had no money during my administration. They were broke. And they would have made a deal and they would have been happy. And they would have had an unbelievable civilization. But it didn't work out that way because of a thing that was very sad to watch. That was the election. A very sad thing to watch.
Oh, it would have been great. Iran would have been great. But then there was a thing. It was very sad to watch. I didn't mention the nuclear at all when I was the president. It's just a bad thing to talk about. Holy crap, man. What the fuck, dude? Okay, here's one that I thought was like super weird. It's only 10 seconds, but here he is. I guess he's at like some kind of store or something. I guess he just like gave somebody money. Just like randomly like handed somebody some money. That's a little bit weird. I mean, I'd take his money. Fuck him.
Take the rest of it. Here, it's going to go down a little bit. It just went down $100.
Thank you so much.
We'll do that for you from the White House, all right?
Thank you.
All right, bye. Nice seeing you.
Is that against election laws to just give people money? I imagine it probably is. Oh, I mean, who cares? Holy crap, man. All right, here we go. We got a scene outside the Trump rally. This man is an illegal immigration expert. Clearly, he has all the right answers. Watch this.
What's the most important issue for you as a Pennsylvania voter?
The illegal immigration into this country.
How is it hurting you and folks you know?
It's not. It's just the principle of the fact that everybody comes in here and gets free stuff and taking stuff away from hardworking Americans, and we got to put America first again.
Absolutely. We've heard that all around the country. Thank you very much. John, heard it.
It's just the principle of the thing. I don't know much about it. It hasn't really had any impact on me. Oh, this is getting stupider and stupider. And this one's fun. This is from outside of a Trump rally. This person apparently is Trump's adopted daughter, and she is also the vice president, I guess. This is not Ramona Didello. I checked. This is a different person.
All right, so who should we talk to? Let's talk to some nice lady. Look at these beauties over here. Hello. What's your name?
My name is Rosa Kowalski.
Well, is this your first Trump rally today?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, why are you here to support President Trump?
I am the adopted daughter of President Trump. I am Rosa Kowalski. Yes, and I am his vice president.
Okay.
Bonds. I don't hire bonds because he's not good.
Oh, well, I wish you good luck in this election then. Thank you. You heard it here first. Vice President to Donald J. Trump. There she is.
Well, there was a new brief approved in Trump's election interference case in, I believe, the Southern District of New York. And here's the MSNBC hit about it.
Breaking news in D.C. with a potentially hugely consequential decision from the D.C. court. I'm serious, hugely consequential, potentially. Judge Tanya Chutkan will allow special counsel Jack Smith to file a 180-page brief laying out why prosecutors believe Donald Trump is not immune for his actions around the 2020 election. Joining us now, MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin. I have built it up. Explain why it could be so consequential and why Donald Trump's lawyers don't want it to become public.
Well, let's talk about first why it's consequential. In the ordinary course, a party filing a brief in litigation in D.C. federal court has at most 45 pages. Special counsel sought permission to file a 180-page brief where they are going to lay out all of the evidence that they say makes their superseding indictment against former President Trump totally permissible and defensible under the Supreme Court's immunity decision. But that is going to have with it all sorts of citations to what are known as sensitive materials, things like grand jury transcripts, witness interviews, documents we've never seen before. And that, to your second point, is why Donald Trump's folks do not want the public to see this. They say it's totally inappropriate in light of the upcoming election for this to be a public record.
Could you call it kind of like not a mini trial, but would this be Jack Smith laying out more of his evidence, more of his argument, and would it tell the public more of what he says Donald Trump did around the 2020 election?
I think that's what some people are expecting. I put myself in that camp. You'll remember, Katie, after the Supreme Court's decision, a number of folks on our air, including Andrew Weissman, said that the way to handle what the Supreme Court had dumped back in Judge Chutkan's lap was to have something akin to a mini trial. Think about this as a mini trial on the papers alone, meaning we might never see those witnesses take a seat in the courtroom. But yes, Jack Smith is going to take Judge Chutkan on a tour of why they believe, based on the context and circumstances, they can get around the Supreme Court's immunity ruling and hold Donald Trump responsible on all four of the charges that are pending.
So might this become public?
I think it could become public, but it won't become public automatically. Okay. And that's because under an existing order in the case, all sensitive materials have to be treated certain ways. Either the parties have to agree about those materials becoming public, or what they do is they hand the entire filing to Judge Chutkan under seal and also say to her simultaneously, this is the version that we propose the public should see. But at the end of the day, the decision about what we see and when we see it, that belongs to Tanya Chutkan alone.
So this is probably nothing, but we'll see. We'll see. It's pretty long. It's out of the ordinary, like she was saying, for a brief to not be brief. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see it. I would imagine that if we do see it, we won't see it till after the election. That's just my guess. I don't know enough about this to really have any basis for that. It's just a guess. So now we're going to move on to the news about Kamala, or at least the media's coverage of Kamala. They're basically, here's S.E. Cupp, who, I don't know, she's like some libertarian. I guess she's on CNN, and we just don't know enough about Kamala's prospective policies.
Take it from the voters you need. She needs more interviews.
But can I ask you, can I say to you, then where is Trump having those real hard-hitting interviews where he says, I'm going to mass deport 11 million people, but he doesn't actually explain that? Why does she have to explain every nuance of every policy?
First of all, he does a ton of interviews.
Absolutely, but he doesn't answer a lot of questions.
He does a ton of, but the guy, there's definitely a double standard here, but that's because the news outlets kind of allow it, right? Where it's like, if the one person takes a bunch of interviews but doesn't really answer questions, like we were seeing before, he was asked a question about, he was asked a few questions, then he just talked about himself. That was it. That's all he did was talk about himself. So, I mean, he can answer all the questions. He can take all the questions he wants. He doesn't answer them. So that is what it is, right? Up next, we got, apparently this is, Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville from Alabama is going to say that Kamala is the first ever AI presidential candidate.
Embarrassing, Maria. We all know that. We've seen that. They're trying to get her elected, the worst possible candidate they could put there. But in 90 days, they're trying to get her across the finish line. She's the first ever AI presidential candidate, all done by social media, TV, radio. They're doing everything they possibly can. They'll spend billions of dollars to get her across the line. She is the worst candidate. There's some Democrat senators up here that are wondering, how in the world did she get in front of me? I've been up here forever. I know the policies. I know how to get things done. No chance. Didn't talk to them. She's the one they wanted because they can control her. That's what it's all about.
Well, Senator, what about these polls? They're incredibly tight, Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, and yet we're not getting any information about any policies from Kamala. And we've got all of these missteps. I've got another letter here to Alejandro Mayorkas and Ronald Rowe, acting director of the Secret Service, from the Speaker of the House, basically talking about these failures in the Secret Service. Alejandro Mayorkas is overseeing all of this. He's overseeing the Secret Service. He's overseeing the wide open border, 10 million illegals in the country in the last 3.5 years. Will there be any accountability for Alejandro Mayorkas in the Senate?
Maria, he's disappeared. If you notice this the last few months, he has not been anywhere. They told him to hide. We don't want you out having to talk about this. Same thing with Kamala.
I'd never even heard of this guy until a couple weeks ago. Has he been hiding for most of the time?
They don't want her talking about it. They're letting the mainstream media push their agenda, but the problem they've got is things are coming out now. We're starting to understand. People understand, wait a minute, we need to hear this from her. What was that she was talking about? I didn't understand it. How in the world is she going to be the leader of the free world if she can't give you basic 101 economics? It's embarrassing that we would even put her in this situation. She should drop out today and let somebody else run. No. I don't know how they plan on getting her across the finish line. President Trump's going to win this. The polls are wrong. Everywhere I go, everybody's saying, Coach, we have to get Trump across the line.
Yeah, really. I mean, you want to say anything about this upcoming Georgia-Bama game, Coach?
Well, it's going to be close. I'm going with President Trump. It's going to be hard to beat Bama in Tuscaloosa. I had a hard time. I did a couple of times, but it's hard to beat them there.
Boom. All right. Senator, good to see you.
You're going to be the first AI candidate. She's just doing social media strategy like she should be. I don't know. She'll probably take more interviews. Maybe she doesn't need to. I don't know. Maybe she thinks that she's doing well enough that she can just kind of coast and let the other guy make mistakes. Sometimes it's better to just let your opponent make a bunch of mistakes. Up next, we got Waters. Of course, we got Waters. Possibly the dumbest person on Fox News, although Brian Kilmeade pretty stupid too. But here's how Kamala destroyed America in 4 years.
Generations fought, built, and created the greatest civilization on earth. But look how quickly it can decay in just 4 years. Your neighborhoods don't look the same, streets aren't as safe, your paychecks aren't as fat. That typical American confidence in the future is rattled. The language that we use is under assault. Things we took for granted as eternal. The differences between men and women, right and wrong, the rule of law, under constant attack. This election is about more than Trump and Harris. It's about the future of the American Republic, our cultural fabric, our economic well-being, our ability to have it better than our parents had it, and an opportunity to live healthy lives.
Healthy lives. That's probably a dog whistle about alternative medicine and stuff, but I don't know. He's just, I can't believe how stupid that guy is. He's one of the most popular people on Fox, but I think it's only because he took Tucker's time slot, right? I think he got the good time slot. I don't think otherwise he would have been that popular on Fox. Up next, we got Eric Adams had made a statement. This is New York Mayor Eric Adams was indicted on more than one corruption charge, and seems like he's having a bad week, and I think things are just going to get worse for him. I don't think it's going to get better. Here's his statement on what's going on with him.
My fellow New Yorkers, It is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target. And a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit.
Uh-oh. He's like, I don't know what they're charging me with, but they're going to do it. And whatever it is all going to be false. You can trust me. This hasn't been great. And here he had a little bit of a press conference. It didn't really go super well, if you could imagine that. He was being heckled at, if you could imagine people in New York heckling someone. Shocking. And give me a moment here. This is not cooperating. There it goes. Everybody on the podcast listening, the show is in fact live.
New York saying that this is not a black day. This is not a black day. This is a youth day. This is a youth day, Eric Adams. This is not a black day. Your policies are anti-black. You are a disgrace to all black people in this city. The things that you have done are unconscionable. You hurt our schools. Our streets are dirty. Our children are harassed by the police. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You can shush me all you want, but the people are with us. And this is not a black day. This is a justice day.
First of all, I want to thank you for being here this morning. And I want to thank the supporters of all ethnic groups.
Love heckling. So this guy's approval rating is like in the tank. It's like under 25%. His approval rating is like lower than the percentage of the vote that his Republican opponent got in New York City. You know, people who know about New York City, not a lot of Republicans there. And so he, if he were to run for re-election right now, I think that a Republican could unseat him. But it doesn't seem like he's going to be running for office again anytime soon. Speaking of people who had some problems the last week, this is Mark Robinson, who's running for North Carolina governor. Boy, howdy, did he have some fucking weird shit that he was looking at. Like on the internet, some weird shit he was posting on like porn forums and stuff. And of course, it's all false. None of this is true, according to him. And he's going to lawyer up to find out who's spreading these untrue, horrible rumors.
Lies, not true. Have you taken steps then to prove it's not you?
We absolutely are. We absolutely are. We're in talks right now. Everything up to legal counsel to take CNN to task for what they have done to us. We are going after them. Okay, we are going to go after them for what they've done. But we have 5 weeks left in this race, folks, and make no mistake about it. We are not going to let CNN throw us off of our mission. Our mission is to win this race. And quite frankly, I am dismayed about the fact, as I said before, think about how many people out there right now, right in the place where we are right now, who are hooked on fentanyl, who are hooked on opioids, and how many will die tonight because of it. Think about what's going on our border. Think about what's going on the world stage. And this is what you choose to focus on. You've got these news cameras, news reporters, pens, pencils, your microphones. This is what you're focused on. You're not focused on the things that we talked about standing up there about our economy. You're not focused on those things. I am. I'm going to remain focused on those things. And you better understand, I am coming after CNN full throttle. But we have got
And in order to put the people first, we've got to concentrate on this campaign. And that is exactly what we're going to do. That's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you.
There's people who believe that this guy is going to deliver North Carolina to Kamala Harris because of like all this crazy shit that looked like it's close anyway in North Carolina. North Carolina's a swing state, but there are people who believe that this is going to be the thing that fucking makes it so that happens. A lot of people are going to come out to vote against this guy, and a lot of those people who come out specifically to vote against this guy are also going to be they're going to tend to vote for the Harris Walz ticket. Up next, here's Lindsey Graham. This one's just 9 seconds long. I try to avoid 9-second clips like under 30 seconds, but this is really funny because he's going to try to say that it's like a hit job to try to tie Trump to this Robinson guy, even though Trump was saying things like that Robinson is like better than MLK and all kinds of weird shit like that. So,
This is really a hit job. It is unconscionable. And if we did this to them, it would be blowing up the entire mainstream media.
But there's no hit job happening here. It all appears to be true. And Trump was singing this guy's praises for quite some time. I don't know what else to say here. Up next, we got Senator Mike Johnson talking about House Speaker Mike Johnson talking about one of the Republicans, member D'Esposito, had put his mistress on his payroll. So we're going to see how the Speaker of the House handles this question.
Mr. Speaker, the New York Times reported yesterday, I'm sure you saw, that one of your members, Mr. D'Esposito of New York, reportedly was putting a family member as well as a woman with whom he was having an affair on the congressional payroll. Number one, was that wrong of him to do that? And number two, would you support an ethics investigation into the matter?
Look, I'm not going to make any detailed statement on this because I don't know the details. I've been very busy the last 48 hours or so. I'm aware that there's this issue out there and these allegations. I haven't had a chance yet to speak with Anthony. He did, I'm told this morning, come out with a statement that the allegations are untrue. It's a partisan hit piece. That would not surprise anyone in a tight election cycle in a seat that's hotly contested. But he's been a very strong advocate for his district. I've been up there a lot. I know the people of his district, and they are great champions of him and he of them. And so what we're focusing on right now is getting the government funding situation resolved and headed home to win the election, and that's where I'm going to leave that. Yes, front row.
So I'm not going to talk about that. This again seems to be true. I haven't done any detailed reporting on it myself, but it seems to be true. Yeah. I think somebody in chat's like, I don't know anything, but it's clearly a partisan hit piece. Up next, we got some palate cleansers here a little bit early in the show, but I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a shorter podcast, which is interesting because we've had the 2-hour pods the last couple of weeks. This is a music video called The Weirdest Guys.
Why does Vance hate cat ladies?
Bunch of childless cat ladies.
Where did he get that?
I'm a never Trump guy.
And Trump just seems to hate ladies except when he grabs them by the calves.
Grab them by the pussy.
Remember Trump suggesting drinking bleach?
The disinfectant.
Could be the cure for COVID.
Almost a cleaning.
Vance was accused of f***ing a couch and everyone believed he did. They're weird guys, best pals, the weirdest guys you know. So divorced from reality, even some Republicans say no.
Trump is unfit to be president.
Trump admires Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter.
Seems to think he's real.
He's a wonderful man.
And Vance is the most unlikable guy with his minus 15 appeal.
Okay, good.
From women to immigrants.
They're bringing crime.
There's no one Trump respects.
I don't know what I said.
And it's hard to tell if Vance is more obsessed with fertility or dolphin sex. So weird. So tune in every week For a laugh and a horrible surprise.
Karen Black.
Trump and J.D. Vance, they're just the weirdest guys.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
The Weirdest Guys is filmed in front of a captive studio audience called America.
That was pretty good. I like I like creativity in political ads. That would be a great sitcom too, by the way. It could go on right after Soups, which would be our show about boards of supervisors meetings. Up next, I hate to tell everybody this, but NSYNC is back. Well, it's not great.
It's tearing up my heart when I'm with you. But when we are apart, I'm feeling you. And no matter what I do, I feel the pain. With or without you. Here we go.
I mean, I'd go see them, right? But like watching them do the dance moves. Oh, watching them do the dance moves is amazing. Oh, guess what? I have another clip of this too. Because of course I do. I'd go see him. Fuck it. I'd even take a night off of the show to go see NSYNC. But yeah, no Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake, I mean, why would he? Actually, it'd be kind of cool if Justin Timberlake joined them. I don't know, like it's if they would have kept doing music the whole time, that would have been pretty cool. But they're not like doing anything new. They're just going over their like old songs from when they were a boy band. Like it would have been way more interesting to find out that they'd been doing music this whole time and we hadn't noticed it. But again, that's not what's happening.
Do you ever wonder why this music gets you high? It takes you on a ride. Feel it when your mind starts to rock. Baby, you can't stop, and the music's all you got. Do you ever wonder why this music gets you high? It takes you on a ride. Feel it when your mind starts to rock. Baby, you can't stop, and the music's all you got. Come on. This must be.
Oh, you know what though? Fucking good for them. Fuck it. Get that money. Get that money. Up next we got apparently we got a MAGA fashion show. It should be great. I don't see any, no Joy Villa in this one, unfortunately.
Who is this Donald Trump, the greatest man ever?
Joining us is Mike.
Only going to scream on me. What's going on, guys?
I'm wearing my TJ Maxx pink shirt that I got for $11.99.
But you took it to support your head.
So what was worse? What's worse, this or the NSYNC that we just played?
Including congressional candidate Michael Couture.
She like didn't know his name.
I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so y'all sound weird as hell to me. So
This jacket is called Fight.
Thank you.
activate one more time. One more time. Another one more time. One more time.
Is that the Right Said Fred guy?
One more time, one more time, one more time. It is the greatest movement and the largest coalition.
That was really touching and beautiful. Thank you.
Well, it's suggesting that we watch again, and I think the answer to that is no, we don't need to watch that again. And we got we got one more palate cleanser. I don't know. This is the Project 2025 song. Ooh.
Hey there, who are you? Oh, just the most important document in our country's history. You mean the Constitution? Nope. The Declaration of Independence? Yes, again. The Federalist Papers? The Federalist, what? No, even more important than whatever you just said. Now sit right here and I'll tell you all about me. I'm just a little paper for the ages, a way to set the government straight. A short 887 pages on how to make America great again by forcing through the president's agenda, removing all of those who disagree, replacing with our loyal party members, and reclaim our great country. In sum, give power to the president to authorize the government to legislate morality and wrestle back normality from Marxist ideologies that infiltrate our policies like gender, race, or anything woke. We're gonna abolish the Department of Education, turn the swearing in into a coronation. America's great salvation will arrive with Project 2025. Coronation? You mean like a king? No, it's called the unitary executive theory. Gives the next president unchecked power to do whatever they want. So, a king. Oh, let's not get hung up on semantics. Here's how it's gonna work. Once that we have started the transition, and no one's left to tell us to wait, we'll go through every policy position, get rid of all the language that we hate, like civil rights, diversity, and unions, and pronouns to mention but a few. Defunding any liberal institutions that dare question what we do. I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court... Oh, the Supreme Court. That's a good one. Now, where was I? Abortion will be pretty much illegal, and reproductive rights will be gone. We'll get back to the biblical ideal that a family means a daddy and a mom with kids. Repeal the crazy climate regulations that get in the economy's way, with everyone reporting to their stations on Inauguration Day. When we give power to the president to authorize the government to legislate morality, expelling abnormality like godless ideologies, protecting inequalities like gender, race, and anything woke. We're gonna abolish the Department of Education, convert the melting pot into a Christian nation. The stage is set and we'll be going live in 2025. I can't seriously say all that. Wanna bet? Come on, let's crack me open. Page 124. Make more nuclear weapons. Page 257. End the war on fossil fuels. Page 214. No more gun violence protection. Page 298. Feeding hungry kids at our schools. Turn to page 5. Ban offensive books from the classroom. 563. Make it hard to register to vote. Page 449. Dismantle Medicare. Kill off the grizzly bear. Delete the term sexual orientation, gender equality, awareness of sensitivity, diversity, equity, inclusion, abortion, reproductive health, and reproductive rights out of every rule, regulation, contract, grant, and piece of federal legislation that exists. And that's an actual quote. And that, my friend, is only the beginning of how this makes America great. You'll be so overwhelmed with all the winning that you won't know what you've lost till it's too... Wait! This doesn't sound great at all. No? No, it sounds like a fucking nightmare. Well, I guess if you wanted to, there's still some things you can do to stop it. Like what? Well, if you vote to save democracy and stand against autocracy and tell your friends and family, enough with this insanity. We fought too long to part with these essential civil liberties like privacy and equity and bodily autonomy. And what defines a family? Equality and empathy And we're not going back, and maybe we can stop this radical abomination. The future all depends on your participation. That's the way democracy will thrive. America was made for you and me, so let's defend our freedom and our dignity. Now raise your voice and let's keep hope alive in 2025. Now vote!
That was kind of cute. I know some people in the chat thought the animation was a little bit bad. It was a little bit bad, but it's like, you know, whoever was doing that probably doesn't have a lot of money. Somebody asked if that was the Lincoln Project. Don't believe that's a Lincoln Project video. No, they actually have money, but I kind of liked it. It was cute. It was cute. And I think that, you know, it's all well and good to, you know, oppose these things and whatnot, but obviously there are many ways to do it. And I think being like creative and having a little bit of fun with it is like going to be a lot more effective than just constant doom and gloom. And I liked that. I would watch that again. We're not going to, but I would watch that again. Yeah, it was sort of in the vein of I'm just a bill and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. I think that's in fact was the inspiration for it, obviously. Up next, we got Jesse Waters, just lying about crime statistics in the United States.
The murder capital of the country, New Orleans, is not included.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, not included.
New York City,
LA, not
Los
included.
Angeles.
Besides all the major metropolitan areas with all the homicides, everything else is fine.
That's it.
Those things move very quickly across the internet. But these FBI statistics leave room for questions because there are a lot of cities, major cities like Los Angeles, that are not providing that information.
I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but I just, because we looked this up, I've heard this before. The FBI addressed this today. Those major cities now are reporting their crime statistics. So,
but they didn't in 23 on these numbers. When you go to the FBI website, they're not there, especially for homicides in LA.
Let me answer what you're saying. So now they do. Los Angeles, New York, all the major cities, any city with over 1 million people, those police departments report into these statistics.
Across the board. And it's important to point out, because you'll hear Donald Trump and others say, well, big cities are left out of this FBI data. That's not true. It was true in 2021 when they changed the way they collected the data. This data set includes every city of more than 1 million people, and it covers 94% of the U.S. population. Now, there are different ways of measuring crime, and there's a Justice Department victim survey that tries to capture crime that wasn't reported to police, and that shows some different numbers. But overall, it agrees that violent crime right now is about the same level it was in 2019 before the pandemic. And that survey doesn't measure murder. Murder, the drop is really is remarkable. And every murder is counted in the United States. There are no hidden murders. So it's really some remarkable good news. And it's distressing that people don't agree on the facts, because the facts are right out in front of us, Chris.
Yeah, like we were talking during the pandemic, we talked a lot about it actually on the Down Ballot podcast, our local news show, that there's like what we might have seen was like there might be just sort of a floor, like in a free or mostly free society where people are allowed to kind of do what they want, and with all the fucking guns we have, that there might just be a floor where like violent crime, there's just a minimum amount that it's not going to likely to drop below. And we may have just been seeing, because we may have just been seeing like the crime rates almost like bouncing off the floor, because these have been going down since the mid 90s. Like, again, it's one of those things we talk about. Like, there's a lot of times when people are talking about this stuff, it's just simply the inability to zoom out on a graph and take a look at the bigger picture. Violent crime, especially in large cities, is down so much since the like early to mid 90s. It's amazing, actually. Up next, also this week, there was a dossier about J.D. Vance that was leaked by Ken Klippenstein, and a free speech advocate, apartheid Clyde, Elon Musk, kicked him off Twitter for it. And here's a hit from him on the Young Turks. I'm not the hugest fan of the Young Turks, but this is who he chose to talk to about it. So,
you know, there are guidelines in the TOS for X indicating that you're not supposed to dox people and this is doxing. And they further claim that, considering the fact that there were 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life with these would-be assassins, this was irresponsible of you to do. You do write in your Substack about why you made the decision to avoid redacting it. So what do you say to those who have that argument in favor of you getting banned on Twitter?
Well, I would say, first of all of that information is publicly available. It was what I was saying at the beginning of the interview. It's stuff you can buy online, and data brokers are selling it on such a massive scale. Companies have it, media has it, the campaign has it. The campaign that's complaining about this had that information, circulated it in the report. And the reason they have that information isn't because they asked about it. It's because they have access to these things just like everyone else, just like I do if I want to jump on LexisNexis and find something out about somebody. Now, if we don't want to have that kind of a system, the Congress can pass a law regulating it, but they haven't done so. Mm-hmm. And so the system that we have is one where corporations and, institutions and powerful people can use that. What the people that can't know these things is the general public, and you have to go way out of your way to redact it. I mean, this is a principle I've lived in my personal life. People have posted my address. Nothing has ever happened. I've never complained about it. I mean, I don't like it, but it's kind of like it is public. That's the system we have. And so I felt wrong in the context of a story that is about full disclosure and giving the public something and trusting them with it and thinking they're adults that can make their own decisions, and then excising parts of it based on, I don't know what the criteria is, because there are a bunch of addresses, like there are business addresses, there are addresses of events. So which one, and they're only complaining about the residential addresses, but where do you draw the line? It's so arbitrary. And to me, I mean, it seems clear to me that this is a pretext. There was no situation in which they were going to be like, yep, that's a story. We don't really have anything to say. They were always going to create something to point to and say, hey, everybody, it's not about Iran. It's not about this or that. It's about some other, it's not that there's a fight within the party about how unpopular Vance is or how his ideas are not supported by the kind of elite segment of the Republican Party. They were going to come up with something else.
Yeah.
In my view, if it wasn't that, it would be something else.
So Ken Klippenstein has a pretty long history of pretty good investigative journalism. And I personally, if I write, I redact like even names of individuals. I would certainly redact addresses, but that's not because I have to. It's because that's what I decide to do. But I'm not doing investigative journalism either. I'm doing like some form of like honestly, like almost like tabloids or like I create soundboards for people and then put them on my website, on my blog and stuff. So it's not really the same thing. So I think it's not, it's not, what happened shouldn't have happened. There's no reason for him to be banned. There's no reason for a link to the dossier to be banned. Apartheid Clyde just didn't like that it was there. And I mean, whatever, it's fucking his party, right? Like he can do that. It's just obviously like hypocrisy because he went in there and was like, oh, unless it's illegal, we're not going to get rid of it. Well, it's not illegal to publish that dossier. So, I mean, here we are. Up next, we got Kara Swisher on something called Crooked, and she's just talking about Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the Trump campaign and the election. This is just a short hit. We may end up watching this in full at some point because we haven't checked in on Kara in a while, and she's usually pretty good, but sometimes, you know how it is.
What do you make of Elon Musk's full-throated backing of Trump this election cycle?
In March, when my book came out, I said this on, I think, Jen Psaki's show, he's going to back Trump. And I got attacked by his people. Kara doesn't know what she's talking about. It just seemed inevitable that he would head this way. One, for self-preservation, because he's, in a Harris administration, he's facing SEC possible charges. They're obviously out there. Just written about this week, but there's others. There's, the question of his national security status around SpaceX and everything else. I don't think he'll get hurt. He's a rich guy. He's not going to really get hurt in any administration. Rich people always do well. But his interests lie with Trump because Trump will overlook everything in order to get that backing.
I think that was her house in San Francisco. She's usually like in the DC area, but I think it was her house in San Francisco. That's a nice place. But what she was saying was obvious. Like when she said before that, that he was probably going to end up endorsing Trump, like that was just obvious. Everybody knew that was the trajectory. Nobody was going to say it. And it kind of sucks that like the tech reporters, it's getting better. It's getting better. For example, Ed Zitron is starting to gain some steam, working with Cool Zone Media people, Robert Evans and Sophie Lichterman and those people on Better Offline. But for a long time, the tech press has been pretty complicit and pretty like quiet and pretty reluctant to criticize the guy. And it's been pretty crazy. It's just like basically after he fucking did something that the tech press didn't like on personal level when he bought Twitter, that's more of them started talking about him in this way. And it's, you know, it's interesting. It's like, well, everything he was doing that was hurting other people was bad, but then he bought Twitter and that hurt us. So I guess it's time for us to talk about it now. And it's like, that's not really, you know, the tech press is generally criticized for being like lapdogs for billionaires. And this is like a case where it like is the clearest case in the world of it, where they were doing that until he did something they personally didn't like. You know, shout out also, by the way, The Verge, Nilay Patel was out ahead of other people on this. And like, you know, they've done a good job, and but they're with Vox, and that's probably why. So up next we got birth control is poison.
Oh, Maha.
I know. Make America healthy again. What a refreshing concept. Well, for reaction, let's welcome in Caitlin Sinclair, Turning Point USA spokeswoman. Caitlin, you're on board the Maha train, aren't you? So what did you think of the new ad?
That's right, guys. Well, I loved the ending there. Look, we talk about this gender divide all the time right now, right? In the polls, the pundits are talking about it. How can we bridge that gender divide between these two candidates? And I think this is the way Donald Trump can get more of the females on board. Look, we talk about our generation, the millennials, the generation coming up behind us, which is the Gen Zers, and we're talking the highest numbers here, the highest numbers of autoimmune conditions in this country, in history, actually, some of the lowest fertility rates for these generations, and the highest incidence of metabolic diseases, dysfunction, obesity rates, levels of depression and anxiety. So this is how, if you ask me, how we can bridge this gender gap and divide, this is how Donald Trump can attract more of the female voters who care about all of these issues, care about how birth control is poisoning us, they care about how the men in this country don't have sperm anymore.
Wait, what? They don't have sperm anymore?
How we can bridge that divide. And I am definitely on board Maha because, guys, there is no Make America Great Again. There is no MAGA without Maha.
Make America Healthy Again. This is like this. It's because of RFK Jr., right? RFK Jr. like supporting Trump. He's supposed to be some kind of health advocate. That's clearly what he's not a health advocate. He's just a grifter, but that's sort of what's going on here. And I don't think any of this is going to work. It's not going to work. They're not going to like bridge the gender gap with this stuff. Like the yoga studio to QAnon pipeline has kind of already run its course. And that, by the way, that's not just women, you know, that's a lot of men kind of went from crunchy to like sort of fashy adjacent. So I think that whole thing has kind of run its course, and I think it's not a good strategy. I think they're running out of potential good strategies, which, you know, I kind of like. Up next, we got, we haven't had him on any of the shows in a long time. Well, he's not on the show, but we haven't run clips of him. This is Kirk Cameron, and he's going to talk about education.
If we outsource our parenting because it's easier, or we believe the lie that we're not qualified experts to educate our kids, so we have to subcontract our parenting and discipleship out to the government, we're going to have little kids that come back as little Marxists, little statists, little atheists, drag queens, strippers, drug dealers, and you name it. Pull your kids out of the schools that are teaching your kids bad things and put them into places that teach them good things.
He just had a whole laundry list of what they're trying to turn the kids into. It's amazing. I don't know what this also doesn't work. Like this is weird shit. People don't like this stuff either. This like puts off like normies. Like, and most people are normies. Like Kirk Cameron isn't like a very popular figure anymore, but it's still like off-putting to most normies. Here's Dave Rubin, one of the dumbest people in media, saying he just hasn't even found anybody who supports the Harris Walz ticket.
Real Clear Politics just released they do an aggregate poll every week, and the numbers are, they're not great, actually. Harris at 49.2%, Trump 47.3%, so that's got Harris up by 1.9. Drew, can you make any sense of these numbers? I mean, the truth is, and I know we all live in our own bubble, but I really don't know anyone supporting Kamala Harris at this point. Like, I know people on TV, on MSNBC, but I don't know anyone. I know a lot of people that were Democrats 4 years ago that are not anymore. They're not the most enthusiastic Trump people necessarily, but I don't know anyone that's out there. Harris Walls, let's do this.
Young people. Yeah, I know a lot of young people, and they are enthusiastic. And when you question them about policy, they just say, don't go there. Just stop. Do you want Trump? This kind of thing. They don't want to think about it.
Well, Dr. Drew, they just don't want to talk to you.
What was the Kraft durch Freude? Kraft durch Freude was a very potent Nazi slogan. Strength through joy. Okay, here we are. Wait, I'm not saying they're copying that. I'm saying that must be a technique that is propagandistic, and it's being deployed, and people are responding to it.
Fuck. I think Dr. Drew is dumber than Dave in that. Yeah, like the fact that like I don't know very many Trump supporters, right? But I'm not suggesting that they don't exist. It's just like I live in the fucking Bay Area and I hang out with like a bunch of musicians and like DJs. And so that's just not, going to tend to be like a conservative group of people. They're going to tend to be liberals, leftists, anarchists even. And those like liberals, leftists, and anarchists don't like people like Donald Trump for a variety of different reasons. So but I don't think that just because like fucking Patty Kay and Juan from the Rebels camp and Matt from Periscope and Nahal from Sweet High Odd, like all my friends, like my friend Johnny, who's like a big old pothead and lives around the way from me, doesn't like him either. Just because those are my people that I know that I hang out with, like it doesn't mean that that's everybody. That's a stupid ass thing. If you could imagine this, Charlie Kirk has some weird fucking ideas about abortion.
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped and she was going to give birth and she would, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
But it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
But let me tell you why. No, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
I like that the people that they've been talking to, what the TPUSA people have been talking to, have basically been calling them fucking crazy now. She's like, okay, well, that's insane. Here's more of Charlie. Here's him talking about how all the Haitians are going to go to Alabama.
That means that they're coming across the border, they run a background check or someone knows, and then they say, just have fun. That's what that means. That means that we know who they are. And then we just release them into the interior and say...
It just shocks me, like, the level of control you can have over media narrative that, like, the New York Times or whoever can blow this off. 13,000 homicide convictions just roaming the U.S. as an elective policy choice.
And the election is close. I mean, the election is close. It's very close.
That's not what he meant by elective policy choice.
And again, there was a poll that just showed up here. Arizona women voters favor Kamala Harris 52%, 43%.
That's going to widen.
And that does not include the 2 million gotaways. And since those are the border jumpers who avoid border encounters, it's safe to conclude the proportion of convicted criminals is even higher than that, 2 million plus of them. Thank you for being a member, and stay safe in Alabama. And pray Trump wins, or else things are going to get really bad. They're going to get even worse. There will be hundreds of thousands of Haitians brought into Alabama.
Okay.
They will become your masters.
So what? There are a lot of space in Alabama. I don't know. Fucking. I don't know what he's talking about, though. I don't think they're ending up there. They mostly land in blue states, big cities in blue states. That's just because, like, that's where, if they have friends or family or any contacts here, it's going to be like places like San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, Miami. Like, that's where it's going to be. Up next, we got two more before we're moving on into red light. We got a short news show this week, actually, which is pretty good. I like getting into red light earlier usually. Up next, we got Michael Knowles on child raising in same-sex couples.
2022, according to this reporting, Amy Wax commented in class that gay couples are not fit to raise children. That's just obviously true. Does anyone seriously disagree with that? I guess some people do seriously disagree with that. People who think that men and women are exactly the same might try to disagree with that. I mean, on a basic level, they can't disagree because 2 men and 2 women can't produce children. It's not possible. It's just not how it works. So they are literally not fit to beget and therefore to raise children. But
so he hates adoption. He's talking about adoption and surrogacy here. That's what he's talking about. He thinks those things are bad.
Even if they adopt a child, or even if they go to the baby store and purchase the eggs from one woman and rent the womb of another woman and create a child.
The baby store?
The child were a
I
handbag
want to open a baby store.
Purchased at Ferragamo or something. Even if they do that, they're not fit to raise a child. In order to say that homosexual couples are fit to raise a child, you would have to believe that either men or women contribute nothing to the raising of a child. Do you think that? Which one is it? Which one do you think?
And the clip died, but that's okay. We got the point there. So no, you don't you don't have to think that either men or women don't contribute anything to raising the child. You can understand that people are different, and people come to parenting with different skill sets. People come to relationships with different skill sets, different positives and negatives, and that's not always gonna break down along gender lines. And I'm assuming it's usually not going to. And to the extent that it may have in the past, or we may have believed that it did in the past, it was going to oftentimes going to be a result of societal pressure, or not, because these things are intrinsic about men and women. So we may run the whole thing of this sometime soon. I almost ran it last night, but I decided not to. Here's Jordy Pete in front of Congress talking about the American Health and Nutrition at the American Health and Nutrition Roundtable.
What do all fat, sick, unhappy people have in common? At least this: they all eat. How could that brute and singular fact be varied and studied? It's a technical discourse on the formulation of adequate scientific hypotheses. You're chronically ill. You have a plethora of symptoms. You eat a multitude of foods. There's some relationship between the food and the outcome, at least in principle. How are you going to determine that? Well, no simple analysis is possible because of the multiplicity of factors, both on the symptom side and on the dietary side. So you reduce the complexity of your diet optimally to a single variable. Well, that's what...
Oh, he's talking about the all-meat diet that he claims, that he and Michaela claim that they're doing.
Daughter Michaela did. In our society, we run primarily on glucose metabolism, but there's no necessity for that, not least because there is no recommended daily allowance for carbohydrate. Right, you can live with 0 carbohydrate, and 0 is not a lot. So that's a remarkable fact in and of itself, given that the primary caloric source in our diet, that we have in our diet, is actually carbohydrate. So
because it's cheap.
That can be eliminated and the consequences analyzed, and that can happen relatively quickly, and people can do it, and it's inexpensive, and it doesn't harm people.
So the reason most people eat a lot of carbs is because like rice, bread, potatoes are cheap. And honestly, it's fucking good. Like, it's fucking good. I don't know anybody who don't like deep fried potatoes. I mean, maybe Jordy Pete, but it's not like I fucking know him, right? He's just some guy on the internet that fucking says a bunch of crazy stuff. And carbohydrates, if you're active, they help you with having energy, because they eventually process into sugar. They slowly process into sugar, and if you're adequately active, the carbohydrates will actually help you in your exercise. For example, like long distance cyclists, long distance runners and stuff, a lot of times they will have like a big pasta feast the night before their event. Now these aren't like this isn't like the Tour de France. I'm sure those people are on a specific diet given to them by their fucking by the team or whatever. But people who are like, amateurs or whatever, that's like a tradition. Before, I think the night before even San Francisco's Beta Breakers, there's a big pasta feast. That's not even a long run, but the idea is that like if you eat a bunch of pasta the night before, that'll break down into sugar and you'll have energy to run the next day. Do people in America eat too many fucking carbohydrates? Yes, probably. But the solution to that isn't some like very restrictive all beef diet or any other such nonsense. It's just people should probably eat better. Sure. And that's the podcast part of the show. Real quick, thanks to Justin for the raid. As we get out of the podcast part of the show, welcome raiders. We're going to go on into red light in a couple minutes. People listening on the podcast, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and that's fine. You can support this project at echoplexmedia.com. Just click the support link at the top and find your favorite way to support the program. You know, there's ways you can do it where you'll get the rest of the show mailed to you tomorrow. You can find that out on the website. I'm going to change the color of the lights here. Grab myself maybe just 1 or 2 cocktails tonight because I actually have a lot of work to do after the show. And I'll see everybody in red light.
Should your pay